the prophets of God, supporting the rebuilding of the temple. After the exile of the house of Judah comes a change of heart from the king of Babylon with an edict coming down, along with the prophets of God speaking of the rebuilding of the great temple, as written in Ezra 5, 1-2, when the prophets, Haggai the prophet, and Zechariah the son of Iddo, prophesied to the Jews who were in Judah and Jerusalem in the name of the God of Israel, who was over them. Then they rose up and began to rebuild the house of God, which is in Jerusalem, and the prophets of God were with them, supporting them. They knew the calling that came to King David, and how his son Solomon, in obedience, successfully constructed the temple, as stated in chapter 5:11. So they answered us as follows, saying, "We are the servants of the God of heaven and earth, and are rebuilding the temple that was built many years ago, which a great king of Israel built and finished." And as King Cyrus' decree comes, in verse 13, however, in the first year of Cyrus king of Babylon, King Cyrus issued a decree to rebuild this house of God. There was resistance against this calling to rebuild the temple, but it is overcome, as the king declares in verse 7. "Leave that work on the house of God alone. Let the governor of the Jews and the elders of the Jews rebuild that house of God on its site." Then in chapter 6, verse 14, the work is finished as spoken through the prophets. And the elders of the Jews were successful in building through the prophecy of Haggai the prophet and Zechariah the son of Iddo. And they finished building, following the command of the God of Israel, and the decree of Cyrus, Darius, and Artaxerxes, king of Persia. And so the house of Judah was overjoyed, as written in verse 16. And the sons of Israel, the priests, the Levites, and the rest of the exiles, celebrated the dedication of this house of God with joy. Then, in Ezra 9:9, the chosen people realized that God had never abandoned them. "For we are slaves, yet in our bondage our God has not abandoned us, but has extended favor to us in the sight of the kings of Persia, to give us reviving to erect the house of our God, to restore its ruins, and to give us a wall in Judah and Jerusalem." And for us today, in this church age, we must realize that when darkness is all around us, with the enemy approaching upon us, we must never lose faith, for God is with us. And during the darkest times, he can bring great revival in the hearts of his chosen people, the branches of the vine and the ones grafted in. Amen.